Sending information to directly from the pump. And then if you're using the outpost, you'd want to use that if you're in a different room, or if you're monitoring someone else in another room, or maybe if you're downstairs.
So it's like an amplifier.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. So basically what it does is it amplifies the signal and then sends it so that it'll be received by the monitor. So as you can see, this is the home screen that we're currently on right now, and so what that does is that displays the sensor glucose value, and so using the sensor is really important with the mySentry because that's how you're going to get the most value, is to be able to see those sensor glucose readings, as you guys are all aware. So this will show your sensor glucose, and that's transmitted every 5 to 7 minutes as it's being read by the sensor. And so that's transmitted to the monitor. And so, as I said, this is your home screen, and you have a couple things you can personalize on here too. You can personalize the image of the person being monitored, and then also put their initials. So say you had multiple people in your household that needed mySentries, or that you had mySentries. You could personalize to different likenesses. So you have this person and that person. You can actually personalize their initials as well, so that way then you can say, oh, this is that person's and this is so-and-so's.
Is it currently capable of listening to 2 different people with 2 different sensors? I thought currently it was one.
It's a one-to-one, so it's one pump to one monitor. What you can do is say you only have one mySentry and you have 2 people in your household that have diabetes. What you can do is you can say, maybe I'll monitor this person for 1 day or a couple days, and then you can switch it and then link it to that other pump and then monitor another person for a couple days. But it's only one-to-one at one time.
Do you think that'll change?
Yes. Yeah. I think that's something. It's very easy to change. Yeah, it is something that's very easy to change, and I think Lane will probably speak a lot about this in his talk. Where we think about that, and whenever we hear feedback from her on just, what's she thinking about the product, and giving us that real feedback so we can then incorporate that for the future. You have here which is showing all the things that are going to be monitored by the pump. And so you'll have the battery life, which it shows what's going on with your battery life. Where are you? And it also shows these in green, yellow, and red. So you can say green is good. You can look at it. Yellow, you're kind of in that halfway point, midway through. And then red, you're getting low. So you know that maybe you need to change the battery. Maybe you're running low on insulin. So then you're going to have to fill it. You're going to have to change your reset and then put more insulin in. Additionally here, this is also the signal. So what this is showing is the signal of the pump and how it's transmitting to the mySentry, and so that's to the entire system. Is everyone good so far? Mm-hmm. Okay, definitely. So as you can see, this is showing a 58 right now, and it's showing a double down arrow. So it's showing that this person is dropping pretty quickly, and we should get an alarm here pretty soon. So now we'll go over to the sensor information that it's going to show. This first one, what it will actually show is it'll show the hours until your next calibration, and that also goes in colors of green, yellow, and red. So it'll go and it'll say, okay, we have 4 hours until that next sensor calibration is due. So this can be really helpful, especially at night. Say if you're, I want to make sure that I calibrate before bed because I don't want to get an alarm in the middle of the night. Because who wants that? I don't want to wake up. And then you can say also here, you'll see how many days until you have to change your sensor. So it'll actually say, okay, you have 1 day left, 2 days, and it'll even go down to hours. So it'll say, okay, this many hours until you need to change that sensor out.
What if you don't change your sensor? Because I know that
hypothetically.
You want to stretch that sensor.
So hypothetically, if you don't change your sensor, it's how it'll react in however your pump is going to react. Because this is getting the information from the insulin pump. So whatever is displayed on here is coming directly from the insulin pump.
So if you restart it on the pump, it'll restart there, right?
So it's
hypothetically.
Hypothetically, it's taking all the it's taking the information directly from that insulin pump. So however your insulin pump is behaving and whatever's showing on there will be recorded here and show on here. Okay? So we'll go through, and I'd like to show you some of the other screens. This is going to be the trend graph screen. And so what you can do here is it can go 3, 6, 12, or 24 hours, similar to the way our insulin pump shows. And you'll be able to see what's going on with the trend graph. Right here we have a stable line because this person, pretty much all night, I had them at 100 on this sensor simulator, just to make sure we weren't alarming in the middle of the night. But if we were showing any, and this will show your thresholds too. So the thresholds you've set on the pump, it'll actually show that. So it'll say whenever you're going outside of those thresholds that you have set, so you will have a better understanding of, okay, what's going on with me, and I can see it in the real time. Okay? Next you go through, and this is called a privacy screen. This is something, definitely, and that's exactly what it is. Take pictures of this, because this is a good one. So basically, say you have it in the living room, or you're taking it with you, and you don't want people to see what's going on with you. You want to keep that private. You want to keep that to yourself, or maybe you don't want to show your child's to be seen. You can set this so that way you can still get all alarms and get all alerts and see what's going on from a general pump and sensor, but you're not actually going to be sharing your glucose information that's being sent every 5 to 7 minutes.
I think it's just great that you guys thought to do that.
Yeah. Or if you don't want to drive yourself crazy by laying there and staring at it.
I've read on the blogs that sometimes people stare it's
stalking the CGM.
You just stare all night because you're so fascinated and so interested to see it, and so I think that it's definitely interesting as well. It's a good
It's
idea.
a sleep mechanism.
There you go. Absolutely.
Can we get Netflix on there?
Greg and Matt are both in here, so we'll definitely take that into consideration.
Nice punt.
Definitely.
Where's the bus?
Where's that bus?
Yeah. Bennett's on it.
So this is your main menu, which has your utilities and then also an ability to view the network status. So you can actually view what's going on with the signal, and you can see and identify how is it signal going from my pump to my system, or how is it just working from my outpost? So am I having any interference or any issues with my outpost, and then how would I then go through and identify that and isolate it, really? So whenever you go to your utilities menu, there's a bunch of different things you can do. So you can link to the pump. If we were using the outpost, you could actually link the outpost. You can edit that user info, so what that person looks like and then the initials, you can edit that. You can adjust the nightlight brightness. So I don't know, there's a nightlight on the back of here, and then the button's right here, and there's a nightlight here. So you can actually adjust how bright that nightlight is.
Nice.
You can turn
We
that on
appreciate
and
our
off.
night lights.
It's right here. You can also adjust the screen brightness. So understanding that, it's nighttime, you're sleeping, you may want to adjust that screen brightness down and make sure that it's not as bright. And then finally, you can adjust the alarm volume, which I know is that's the big winner here. That's what everyone's most excited about. So we'll actually go through, and I'll show you guys what that can sound like. So that's the lowest volume. So maybe for those light sleepers, those people who, as Greg said, they can't sleep by the train tracks. Everything just stirs them.
That'd wake me up.
All the way up, we can get all the way to that. And that's what it would sound like if it was actually...
Wait till you hear the alarm.
So that's what we're going to do next. So trying to get a low alarm here. So we'll keep pushing it a little bit lower. How was that?
I know.
But what we can also do, just to show you what an alarm would sound like, is I can set an alarm clock alarm. So similar to on the pump, you can actually, just so I'll show you what it would sound like, we can set an alarm clock so you'll hear what that alarm would sound like.
Can I just comment?
Absolutely.
I like the fact that the font size for the reading is as large as it is. I need, my alarm clock next to my bed is enormous because I cannot see, and it's like the older I get, the worse it gets.
Well, plus too, if an alarm goes off or something happens, and you have to look at your pump, then you're
Find your glasses.
find your glasses, or you have to put the light on. Now you're up.
Yeah.
Project on the
So
wall.
that's,
That's a good idea.
That's product development.
Can you have more than one outpost? Like, can you have outposts everywhere so your whole house is wired?
So with the system, it's a 1-to-1. So it's one outpost to one monitor. So it's a one system to one pump.
Does that mean today? Okay.
Today, exactly.
It seems like that would be. Or some crazy signal, but if not, that would be.
And again, to Greg's point earlier, this is the way it's currently set up, but we're looking and trying to identify how can we make it so that it's whole house, so it's mobile, so you can monitor someone maybe who's playing soccer, so your child who's playing soccer, and you want to see what's going on because. So there's your alarm clock alarm. So I know that's not as fun as if it was a low or if it was a high, so we could actually see, but. What will happen here is it'll do the exact same tone that you hear on the pump. So any tone that you would hear for a low threshold, for a rate of change, for a predictive alerts, that's the exact same tone that will be mimicked on the pump, just at a higher volume. And so you can clear it from here, but that won't actually clear the alarm It'll just clear it for 1 minute because the alarm will be sent to the mySentry every 1 minute until you clear it on the pump. So you have to actually clear the alarm on the insulin pump for it to go away on the mySentry.
That's a safety.
Exactly. And so to Carrie's point, that's really a safety feature because I mean, there's a bunch of different things. I mean,
Because we hit snooze alarms and don't get up, basically.
There you go. So, as you can see, and then we've now cleared, and so you'll be able to see that it's going, and it'll show you the arrows on this screen too, so you can see at what rate you're dropping, and especially if you have those for a pump, if you have a rate of change on there, you can really identify that.
Can you turn him up? I'm getting nervous with him being so low like
Absolutely. we got it.
Now we're all going to experience slows by osmosis.
We have to turn them up slowly because what we're using here it's a simulator, and so it'll move a little bit slower, and it is transmitted every 5 to 7 minutes. So he'll move up slowly, and I promise I'll get him back up.
Get it so high so you can hear the high alarm later and let's interrupt Matt.
Definitely.
What is his threshold that he's not alarming?
So actually, it should be alarming, which is. Actually, what I think may have happened is that I may not have set the threshold on this pump, and so if I didn't set the threshold, then you wouldn't have anything. So that's why we're not alerting just yet.
User error.
Exactly.
Well, you know, it might be a good idea to have sort of a default already pre-programmed in there, you know?
That's actually true, because if you forget to set it,
or if you don't know how to set it, you're still learning it, you know?
Oh, that's a really great point.
But there's one parent who's technically savvy, like, because my sister isn't, but her husband, one of their kids went. She can't even put the cables in the computer. Seriously.